Ashutosh, you have over 35 years of experience in various domains in the field of education. You set up the Bloom Public School in the year 1996 and have created an institution of excellence and repute, which has been corroborated by surveys done by leading newspapers, Hindustan Times and Times of India, on top schools of Delhi. Today, Bloom School is ranked in the top 10 schools of Southwest Delhi consecutively for years 2012 to 2019. You are a member of the prominent Association of School Principals and School Management and are currently the chairman of Sarv Sahodaya, a cluster of 15 highly reputed schools of Delhi and NCR, an initiative of the Central Board of Secondary Education. As a keen learner who seeks to continuously upgrade his knowledge and latest practices in education, you have attended professional courses at the Principal Center, Harvard School of Education, USA, the Principals Training Center, London, Indian Institute of Management, Ahmedabad, Reggio Emilia Early Childhood Center, Italy, I don't know if I said that right, but Edward de Bono Center, Malta, amongst many more. You're also an advisor to SchoolNet, an EdTech solutions company. And the best part is you love to golf and play the drums in your free time. So welcome.
It happened in the family, and I won't give details. But
Sure.
and she came and the child, ninth standard, and came and told the school counselor that this happens at home. And the counselor comes to me and says, she just told me this. And I said, well, we have to look at the law. And it said we have to inform the police. We said, should we? Should we? Because she's fine. We kept reading the law over and over again. And the not the hesitation, but the scare of going to the police was the collateral damage in the family.
Yes.
We didn't know what to do. And we kept discussing. In schools, we leave by 3:30, 4 o'clock. It had become 7. We were, all of us were there. And then we gathered the guts and we made a letter and we went and gave it to the police station. And we didn't know what will happen. And to my surprise, and we've got these, the next day, a constable, a woman and a man, a constable from the locality police station, and they said we come in civilian dress. We are for everybody. We are from one NGO we are working for, and we will just talk. So you don't worry, because we are also scared to bring a child of our school before anybody else, and we were really scared. We didn't know how it will happen, but hats off to the Delhi police. I think they did a great job. And then then we called for the child. We said we have to be there when you talk to them. We won't allow any, And so we sat down. We called her, and we heard her out. And the lady constable gave her number and said, "This is my number. And if anything happens again, you give me a call, and I'm your friend, and we will just keep this under wraps and everything." Um, and I thought that was beautiful. And then they told us to talk to the one parent of the child. So we called the parent. And we told her that this is happening in your house. I think the way we empowered her and the way we protected her, because she knew that we were there. She knew it. She knew we were a phone call away. And this meant the counselor, the principal, the class teachers throughout from 9 to the 12th standard. We were just a phone call away.
Brilliant.
So my only experience with the boxer thing, and I was very impressed by the Delhi police. I mean, the way they sent their people in. So this is a
Brilliant.
situation which did not happen in school. It happened outside school. It happened in somebody's home. I think when children can understand that schools can be protective about them and can protect them, I think we need to create a campaign to tell them that this is your first stop for seeking out for help or protection or for whatever. This is what schools do, and so they should know that this is their right. Equality is actually we see a lot of equality in schools, especially our schools like ours. You know, the girls. I'll can I give another example of
Yes,
what we? Yeah,
please.
we used to have head boy and head girl. Okay, and this is years ago. So we had. So then we always found that the head girl was by and large the studious girl who was very good value systems and very good with teachers, and the school was always a naughty guys. They got elected because they were not every time good. I mean, they weren't really very academically focused, and so we said school captains. We said why a boy and why a girl? Anyone who's deserving should be there. So we had two school captains, and then it became sometimes two girls, sometimes became two boys, one boy, one girl. Then we realized that it is such a difficult situation because sometimes there are more kids who deserve to be leaders. And just for the sake of two, we have another 15 or students who should have become school captains. Then we eradicated the school captains bit. We made a school council. And so
Okay.
today we have around 10 or 11 students as they all are school captains, they all are school, because this would, if they did not, because the final selection was by the school. And just to select two, we would make 10 unhappy. And they would carry this grudge and this feeling of being defeated for a long time. And I think all their lives, you know. And so equality, yes, in a way, yes, because if you are deserving, you will be there and you will be known as a school captain anyway. Nobody knows outside that we have 11, 12, captains. And you don't lose out with your friendships because the second someone would get, elected, the others would have issues with them. And I think it was leading to too many problems.
Mm.
So, this is how schools could need to keep changing because they are there not to put down someone, put someone on the pedestal. They got to carry everybody up there.
So creating opportunities for everybody as per what the requirements are.
Equal opportunities for everybody. And
Yeah.
giving everybody, not having any policies which bring down some and, you know,
Promote
because
another.
there's always bias here. There's always human bias. If you have to make a choice between from the two, you will pick up one not because one is better than the other, but just because there's something which makes you say, "Oh no, this should be the school captain." So we just wanted to get away from all these, So now the council has no restriction. I don't want to get negative,
Mm.
that it's very very prevalent everywhere, and it's very, but of course because there's no statistics to talk about, and the definition exactly is also, um, you know now of course the act has clarified what is what and what is what. But it's very difficult to really make a wild guess. And like I was reading something very in the newspaper today about this man from Punjab. There was a rape allegation to someone, Indian origin lady from Australia or something, and then because they had an affair, and then the promise of marriage, which he backed out, and then she filed a case of rape against him, and he agreed to marry, and the court said fine. So they trivialized the whole thing. So there are situations like this. You don't know what is what and really what is what. So this requires professors like you, and NGOs like yours, who are working in this area to, make things very clear, to bring out clarity and, yeah, it's very dangerous to ask people like myself to sort of make, give suggestions, and because we are looking from a very minor point of view, but you see it in a much larger space and many more sectors of the country. If you're talking about gender, yeah, in general, sexual abuse of women or men or boys or girls or whatever, it's in every kind of setup. Not really. I mean, schools is just one small part of it, and by and
Yeah.
large, schools are still safer. Schools are still very controlled. You still got teachers, a lot of teachers around. It's a very controlled environment. So,
Mm.
in that respect, schools are definitely far, far more safer. And I think I tick mark that we will report it to the police station. This is what, because from my experience, this is what we did when we had a situation
Yes.
like that. So I think it's a lot of these answers would come as to what if anybody had to be a part, to see or to whatever such situations, and what would happen. But a lot of people would just say have other answers because that's the way they perceive. I think these things require a standardized, you know, protocols. This is what needs to be done. Now, if that elder sister knew of the protocols, that's it. We are sorted. Then everything follows. So protocols have to be established, and this is to be the part of the curriculum which needs to be prepared for school children. They need to know what to do. It is good enough for them to even come and talk to the schools. So let the schools then take it forward to families, to whatever they need to. Looking at it
Yeah.
from a school's perspective,
Yes. As an educator.
as an educator, right? So, see, one is that we are totally responsible for anything happening in school,
Mm.
and I think all schools are very, very careful. But sometimes these things can happen. We've heard of some schools, and then read from the newspapers that there've been incidents like that. What happens outside school is what now schools need to watch or take on. So,
Mm.
that has to now say not only is your child our responsibility in school, but is also a part of our responsibility when he's outside in his home, in his environment, which is playing in outside. And all that can only happen if there is more one to one between the teacher and the child. Because I find, and we don't need to fix mentors, or the child can go to any subject teacher. Sometimes there are children who don't relate with the class teacher, but relates to a teacher teaching, say, French or art teacher or the sports teacher, or like lots we have lots of sporty boys who would confide in the sports teacher and not with the class teacher, and lots of children who are very fond of Hindi or Sanskrit, or because they were lesser numbers, so there was more one is to one. and hence more bonding. So the answer is to create bonding and make it compulsory and a part of a protocol of every school. You have to know every kid. See, when I was with Xerox, my boss once asked me, "What are the outstandings?" And I said, "I don't know." And he fired me. He said, "These should be on your fingertips." It's like this. And same way, every teacher should have on her fingertips information. She can recall. She should be able to recall every child. Hobbies, likes, dislikes, personality. Home environments, whatever. And it has to be put in the timetable. How they timetable this? How can teachers spend 1:1? Now, child is scared to go to the school counselor because the second he or she goes to the school counselor, people know something is going on. So they don't do that. That's that's a
Right.
difficult thing. So, but the teacher is the best source. I think
Yes.
this should be a part of teacher training. This has to be made compulsory. There has to be a part of the profession should say that this is the time in a year that you need to spend with every child, and you should know everything about the child, and you should give space to your child to speak to you, or your student. I mean,
Brilliant.
uh,
Brilliant.
yeah, if we
Brilliant.
can bring
Yeah.
this into our schools, and if we can do this, I think we will get far more aware and more awareness, more
Mm,
children opening up to teachers.
mm,
The more statistics we have, the more action schools will have to take because of law. Because now, the second the teacher
yeah,
gets to know that there's
mm,
something happening, she has to report. The school management has to report. So
yeah,
when we have made an act which makes it so mandatory for schools to report to the police station or the POXO people in the police station, then why don't we create the situation that they get to know in the first place? Because
brilliant.
things come out, while just talking, suddenly, this happened, really, so what happened? Tell me, I'm your teacher, or I'm your mother here, or I'm your parent here. Tell me, tell me, tell me. And you'll have lots of things coming out of the closet. I'm a action.
Thank you so much, Ashutosh. It was really
Thank
lovely
you.
to talk.
Thank you,
Thank
Smita.
you.
Thank you. You take care.